We have the Chamber of Commerce, we have Big Pharma, we have the Real Estate Association, all massively giving more funds to the lobbying world. The influence of Qatar alone, $1 billion on universities and media. Aren't you more concerned about that? Why do you never speak about the Qatari influence in America?
There's no comparing the influence of Qatar in the United States to Israel. And the proof of that is that we don't give $4 billion automatically a minimum every year to Qatar the way we do with Israel. This $3.8 billion that you said, much of which has to be spent at American arms manufacturers like Boeing and Raytheon, is like a gift certificate that the American public gives to Israel and says, here, go shopping for yourself at our arms dealers. There's no other country that gets that. We've given vastly more sums to Israel over the last several decades than any other country by far. We deploy our military for Israel. We don't do that for Qatar. President Trump has been imposing speech codes at universities to protect Israel and not for Qatar. People who demonstrate against Israel are being deported, not for Qatar.
Okay.
And that the amount of money itself, 3.8 is the minimum. That $3.8 billion is the minimum. We gave over $20 billion under President Biden in 2024 to Israel.
You're not being honest.
These are all facts.
Yes. No, they are facts, but you're not saying the whole story.
What else?
Israel is the only country that actually gives us a return on investment. That $3.8 billion, yes, 80% of it is invested right back into America, America jobs, American defense. And guess who tests out all of our military equipment? It's Israel, because they are in the front lines of our enemies. They are doing us a favor. We need Israel strategically, and we are grateful to have them as a strong ally.
The American people have turned against Israel because they're sick of having their
because
resources.
of propaganda that you're perpetuating on X. We didn't have an issue of this before October 7th.
If you look at American communities, they're falling apart. This was what President Trump...
This is Israel lobby's fault?
It's not entirely the Israel lobby's fault, but we ought to be focused...
Should we talk about Doge, the $215 billion in Doge? Maybe we should look at that?
The Israeli people have a higher standard of living than tens of millions of people in the United States, and yet they are forced...
What does that have to do with Americans?
Because Americans are forced to subsidize the Israeli military to send tens of billions of dollars to Israel to go to war for Israel.
So now it's tens of billions of dollars.
Yeah, I just told you in 2024 alone, it was above $20 billion.
They were in a war.
Exactly. Every time Israel's always at war.
What do you mean every time? Israel has never asked for boots on the ground, and yes, they were in a war.
No, we pay for their wars. We pay for their wars. We pay for those wars
because it's to our interest that there is stability in the Middle East, because these are proxies to America as well.
The wars that Israel starts create instability, not stability.
Sunday, do not normalize terrorism and the Islamic Caliphate. Why are you so hyper-focused on our ally?
It's the same way that we started off the first question, where people say, no, Trump doesn't make wars, and then, okay, Trump makes them, but they're justified. The point here is we do more for the Israeli lobby than any other country. You started off by saying, no, it's Qatar, and now you're saying, yes, we do more for Israel,
because they're an ally,
it's justified.
With good reason.
It is justified. Of course, they're an ally and they're an enemy. They spy on us. They steal our nuclear secrets.
They spy.
Israel is the number one. Wars that Israel starts create instability, not stability.
Sunday, do not normalize terrorism and the Islamic Caliphate. Why are you so hyper-focused on our ally?
It's the same way that we started off the first question, where people say, no, Trump doesn't make wars, and then, okay, yes, we do more for Israel,
because they're an ally,
it's justified.
With good reason.
It is justified. Of course, they're an ally and they're an enemy. They spy on us. They steal our nuclear secrets.
They spy.
Israel is the number one surveillance threat against, not the way that Israel spies on the United States. When I did the Snowden reporting, there are documents that say, here are the countries that are the greatest surveillance threat: China, Russia, Iran. Number one on that is Israel, because they treat us like an enemy. They take our money. They sponge off our citizenry. They suck money out of our. They suck money out of our country.
You never want to talk about our actual enemies. You only want to talk about Israel.
I think Israel does more damage to the United States than almost any other country on the planet.
Please return to your seats.
Okay. Thank you.
Good job.